Welcome back to another episode of Podcast Name. My name is Jason HUTAGALUNG, and today we unravel a tale that feels as though it's been pulled straight from the script of Scarface. But this isn't Miami. This is Southeast Asia, a region caught in the throes of Cold War politics, where ideologies clashed and the scars of propaganda, communism, and Western meddling shaped entire generations. Our story takes us to the shadowy world of Hercules, a modern-day Tony Montana. Like the fictional Scarface, Hercules rose from the chaos of a broken world, carving out a path of survival, power, and infamy. But his story isn't just one of a gangster, it's tied to a larger game, one played by superpowers, each vying for control over a world gripped by fear of communism and the thirst for dominance. Narrative tie-in, the global context of Hercules' rise. In the mid to late 20th century, the Cold War wasn't just a battle of ideologies. It was a battle of proxies, and Southeast Asia became one of its most brutal theaters. For Indonesia, the 1965 anti-communist purge, fueled by Western propaganda and local military ambitions, left more than 1 million dead. It wasn't just an ideological cleansing. It was the beginning of an era where fear and power dictated the rules. Hercules was born into this chaos. A young man from Timor-Leste, a region ravaged by Indonesia's annexation in the 1970s, he grew up witnessing how propaganda turned neighbors into enemies, and how the powerful used fear to control the weak. These formative years parallel the story of Tony Montana, shaped by his own war-torn past in Cuba, thrust into a world of crime, survival, and power in America. But Hercules' rise wasn't just about himself. It was part of a much larger web: the Indonesian military, armed militias, and the shadow of Western influence take life, all converging to create an ecosystem of violence, corruption, and survival. Propaganda, politics, and the cost of power. Much like Tony Montana's ascent in Scarface, Hercules' story is one of raw ambition colliding with a brutal reality. But where Tony's empire was built on the cocaine trade and Miami's criminal underworld, Hercules operated in a landscape shaped by Cold War geopolitics. Timor-Leste's bloody annexation by Indonesia was justified by anti-communist rhetoric, a narrative backed by the United States which saw any communist foothold in Southeast Asia as a threat. But as the bullets flew and the villages burned, it wasn't communism or democracy being defended, it was power. Hercules, caught in the middle of this ideological storm, rose not as a symbol of either side, but as a man determined to survive. He joined the pro-Indonesian militias, not out of loyalty to the cause, but out of necessity. Just as Tony Montana said, in this country, you gotta make the money first. Then when you get the money, you get the power. Then when you get the power, you get the women. For Hercules, it was survival first, then the power, then the legend, reflection, and parallels. Hercules' story is more than just a gangster's tale. It's a window into the brutal reality of geopolitics, propaganda, and the human cost of power struggles. Much like Tony Montana, he rose from nothing, navigating a world where morality is a luxury and survival demands ruthless pragmatism. But here's the question. Is Hercules a villain, a hero, or just a man shaped by his circumstances? Is his story one of triumph or tragedy? As we explore these parallels, remember that history is written not by the innocent, but by the powerful. And the scars left behind, whether in Miami, Indonesia, or Timor-Leste, tell the stories of those who lived, fought, and survived.